I think things have gotten low enough and they're going to start to correct, and it's time to start making money.
We're here at the Bloom Burton Healthcare Investor Conference in Toronto, and I'm joined by Brian Bloom, the president of Bloom Burton. Thanks so much for joining us, Brian.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Now, this is the 5th year of this conference, and it's bigger and better than ever. So for investors who don't know much about this conference, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. The whole reason that we put on this conference is so that investors can come and investigate dozens of healthcare companies, mainly publicly traded, but also private ones that they may not know about, to try and find companies that they think are great investment opportunities. It's also an opportunity for Canadian healthcare companies to meet investors and other service providers who can help their companies grow.
That's great. Now, what is your outlook about the healthcare sector, and do you think it's hit rock bottom?
It seems a little bit rosier than mining and oil and gas, I think. I think there's a lot of macro issues that are very positive for healthcare. We have an aging baby boomer demographic. The need for new healthcare drugs and services and cures is very high, and we have governments and private sector that are willing to pay for really, really great new products and drugs and services. So I think the large fundamental aspects of our sector are very, very strong. And if you talk about a bottom, you may be referring to Valiant and some of the stock market woes that we've experienced over the past few months. Yeah, I think things have gotten low enough and they're going to start to correct, and it's time to start making money.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, for investors who are looking to get into the healthcare sector, what's some advice that you might have, and what do you personally look for when investing in companies?
Well, I would say most Canadian investors are generalist investors, which means they know a good management and they know a good idea when they see one, but they may not have technical expertise. They may not be biologists or medical people able to decipher good companies from bad companies from a technical point of view. Mm-hmm. So I would say rely on experts and try and buy companies that are either more liquid on NASDAQ or ones that have validation from Bloom Burton or other investors who do specialize in the sector. And, I have many great ideas in the sector. We track about 182 public companies that are Canadian. And either on the Toronto Stock Exchange or healthcare on NASDAQ. And of those 182, we at any one time we like half a dozen or so. I would say that ESSA and Trillium and Titan are three of my top picks on the R&D stage companies, and Nuvo Pharma is probably my top pick of the commercial companies.
Yeah, thank you so much for the picks. I think the audience really appreciates that. What are some risks that new investors might face when investing in healthcare?
Everything. You have to be crazy to invest in biotech in Canada because, the risks are just enormous. So, the biggest risk, of course, are what we call binary events. So these companies can go from heroes to zeros very, very quickly, literally overnight. If a company is trying to cure a disease and they're running a clinical trial, negative results can mean that stocks can be down 90%. But of course, the opposite is true too. So for the risk-tolerant investors who are seeking a wild ride and great returns, the R&D stage companies that do that kind of binary work is for you. And for those that like lower risk, even though it's not true with Valiant also having its own wild ride, try and stick to the commercial companies that trade more on revenue, profits, and multiples.
Well, that was some great advice, Brian. Thanks so much for joining us.
My deep pleasure. Thank you for being here.